It was a night filled with excitement. 7 years of saving every penny and living on just the bare essentials, and I was finally there sailing the high seas of adventure and living the dream. I boarded an elegant cruise ship off the coast of Florida on my way to Puerto Rico. I had never seen a ship as extravagant or big as this before. As I stood there on the deck of the massive ship with my hands grasping the cold steel railing, I leaned forward and cautiously looked down to the water below. It must have been 100 feet or more to the deepest, darkest blue water that seemed as if it were more of a broken mirror than an ocean. As I peered into the ominous, eerie depths, everything began to slow down as if I were in a dream. Then the water that looked like a broken mirror started to rise and separate from the deep, dark water and totally engulf the ship in such a way that you could not tell up from down. Then suddenly everything was dark and there was complete silence. The kind of quiet that all you could hear was your own breathing and the beating of your heart. The silence was broken by a quivering voice. "Where are we?" Like the shrill scream of the alarm shatters a dream. K. Flockman and M. Flockman, page 50. I found out an answer. I do not know. As the words left my mouth, the darkness began to fade and a silhouette started to appear beside me. The silhouette of a vaguely familiar face, and then it dawned on me who it was. It was the international student from my English class in college. Out in front of us, a large floating square panel appeared. The panel was transparent like glass, but not smooth. It seemed more like crystal because the lines were broken and jagged. Then more panels appeared, forming a triangle that surrounded us, and they all began to play scenes like a movie. I noticed quite quickly that the scenes were of me, and they were showing my future. I pointed to one of the scenes and began to explain to the international student what we were watching. "That room with all the cubicles is the biomedical department," I said. "That desk that I am sitting at is my boss's desk. This must be showing my future." As we were watching the scene unfold, Jess walked up to the desk with a stack of requisition forms that needed to be approved. Now, Jess is one of those big old country boys that when you first see him, you immediately think of John Deere tractors and hay hauling. He was a muscular and well-built man. K. Flockman and M. Flockman, page 96. He is the only guy I know who can put on a pair of slacks and a nice polo shirt, and in your mind you still see overalls and a pitchfork. He is an extremely likable fellow with a heart as big as he is. His voice is deep and warm with a friendly tone that makes you feel safe and at the same time fearful. I told the international student, "This is not the kind of guy you would expect to be working on medical devices and x-ray machines," and he nodded in agreement. As a tear rolled off my cheek, I told the international student how overwhelmed I felt with a feeling of accomplishment. I spoke of how I wished my mother was still living to see how all of her encouraging me to keep trying had finally paid off, and how I felt such a sense of peace knowing that all of my hard work was not in vain but would eventually bring success. He never said a word, but the nodding of his head as I spoke and the smiles on his face as we watched together told me he totally understood.